Welcome to another episode of What the Falafel. Today I'm joined by content creator that we all wish we were on holiday with. It's Nicky Kelvin. Hello.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. I've just been scrolling your Instagram feed, wishing that I was all over the world recently. I've been very jealous.
There's lots to be jealous of. I do some fun stuff, but also it is exhausting and it's not as glamorous as it seems, I think.
Oh no, don't put me off with that.
Pop
I feel
the
like you're
bubble.
living like the ultimate life. Why isn't it so glamorous?
I think the travel can be quite grueling. Very violent time zone changes. I've just come back off a trip actually, which was a lot of big time zone changes, going from Europe to the US, straight to Asia, back to the US, back to Europe, all in like the space of about 10 days. Contrary to popular belief, flying in economy a lot of the time. And also actually, when I'm traveling, if I'm doing nice stuff, it usually means we're creating video or social content or written content. And so it's never really a holiday. You're always on, you know what it's like, you're creating this kind of content. I'm very grateful. I get to do some really cool stuff and I love planes a lot. So I get to do cool stuff with planes. But even when I'm doing the really nice stuff, being constantly on camera or writing or taking pictures and your brain is always engaged, I'm never just like sitting. I just went to the Maldives like a couple of months ago.
If you make this sound sad that you were in the Maldives, then I'm gonna come over there and
I just want to say, like, even going somewhere like that, I was there for 6 days.
Yeah.
I didn't lie down once. I didn't lay in the sun. I didn't chill. I didn't stop, not even once. So that's just like, that's kind of what
I'm
it's
not
like.
sure I can feel sorry for you.
Would I rather be like...
I was in the Maldives and I didn't sit in the sun. What were you doing?
What would I rather... Filming, creating content the entire time. Would I rather be like down the coal mines? Like, no. Would I rather be like filming on a beach in the Maldives? Like, absolutely, yeah. But like, it is work.
Okay.
Just to make sure everybody knows that it's good though. It is nice.
You call yourself an aviation geek.
Yes.
This started from a really young age where you were like spotting planes or like, were you spotting planes? Is it? No, it's not the same as plane spotting, or is it?
Yeah.
Tell me all about aviation.
Okay.
Stuff.
It's all one thing. Now, there's another common misconception that I talk about my sister a lot, who was BA cabin crew, and everyone's like, oh, you got it from her. But actually, she was scared of flying and became cabin crew like later in her 20s. But I was like a day one obsessive plane geek. Would go to Leeds Bradford, watch the planes taking off and landing, always looking up to the sky. Ever in an airport, I'd have to like sit by the window. Became obsessive at a very young age with like aircraft types, airline branding. And actually as a kid, we used to go to Israel quite a lot, and the El Al used to fly to Manchester. And they had at the time 2 different types of aircraft that they would fly there, a 757 and a 767. Don't know if you may have lost you already.
No, I'm listening.
757, narrow, smaller, 767, big, wide body. And I loved the 767. And I used to be on the airport. This is like me at like 6 years old being like, if we get there, and this is before like the internet, where I was like, if we get there and it's a 757, I'm not going on holiday. I was like, it has to be. And I'd like run to like the window to the gate once we got the security to see what it was. And if it was a 767, I'd be like, oh my God, yes, it's my favorite. And like, if it was the 757, I'd be like, this is terrible. Like the holiday's ruined. And they'd be like, you're 6. Like, shut the up. Are we swearing on this podcast?
You can swear as much as you like.
Shut the fuck up. That's what my parents said to me.
That's good parenting.
Yeah.
Do they actually swear at you?
No.
So, but how did you know? Because I at 6 years old, I'd look at a plane and be like, that's got wings. How do you know what models they are and how did you do the research?
I think even at that sort of age, kids have their obsessions, right? Like I'm sure, I don't know were you obsessed with something? Dolls or kids love buses or car, whatever. And I'm
just trying to think. It was more, I like Barbies and dolls, but I don't know whether I knew much about them. As long as I could brush their hair and change their outfits, I was happy.
But for you, I don't know, is it the difference between like, shopping Barbie and like beach Barbie? I don't know what even the differences are. I don't know.
No, I wish I did have now. I feel so deprived of a childhood obsession.
It did run deep though. And I still really hold on to that now. Like I really love being on a plane, being in an airport. Any of my friends will tell you, if you're sitting with me and there's like planes going overhead, I'm very good at like, I can look at the plane, I can tell you the airline, the type of aircraft, a good guess at where it's coming from or going to. And so I get tested a lot, and I think this is becoming more popular. There's an app called Flight Radar 24. People love it, even if don't see themselves as av geeks. They love this thing of like, look in the sky and that's the plane. Oh my god, and it's going here. There's something very like exotic and exciting still about air travel to most people, I think.
That's fun. So you would just, but how would you know about it though? You'd look them up, or?
Oh yeah, like books or like I don't know, encyclopedia. I'd always, when I was flying, I still love this now. They're becoming less and less common, but in-flight magazines, like lots of airlines still have something along those lines. The ones that remain tend to be more around duty-free or shopping. But El Al, for example, in their in-flight magazine of old, and it may still be like this now, there was always a page that had all the route information, so it would show you on a map like everywhere it flies with the little lines, and then the fleet information, so it would show a picture of each aircraft, how many were in the fleet, how many seats it had, how many engines, who made the engines, what the model type, all this kind of stuff. And I used to like just devour that information and lock it in, and I can still picture even from like 25 years ago what the LR one looked like, and being like, oh my god, they still have like these 747-200s that haven't been, most airlines are not flying anymore, or whatever. And it was always my dream to fly. I remember my brother went to Israel when he was 18 for a year, and I knew he was going to fly on a 747. And on El Al at the time, they had these, it was like they had TV screens. It was like airlines were just getting these personal TV screens, and it was about like this big. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. My dream was like to go on one of those planes.
No, you go to Israel a lot. You still do, don't you?
Yeah. So we used to go a fair bit when I was younger. We used to go to Eilat and usually in February half term. Actually, it was like our like holidays. Very, lots of people did that. Very common in Leeds, in our community. Lots of people would be going there at that time of year. And then when I was 18, I went on year course, lived there for a year was with FZY, and like kind of grew up in FZY anyway. So now I was like a leader. I led tour for the 16-year-olds, which I still think is one of the hardest like jobs ever, and you're not paid, and it's like the most grueling, intensive work.
See, I don't understand that, because I've been thinking about this recently, in that I always saw my leaders as being so much older than me, but they're not. They're still quite young. They're teenagers themselves, right?
Yeah. We were like 19. I think I was 20 when I led tour, and the kids are 16. So like, it's really interesting now, because there's lots of my this is so weird. About 3 or 4 days ago, I was searching for something in my email, and my phone is doing this weird thing at the moment where it's listing really old emails like above everything else. And whatever I was searching, it was the email from FZY that told me who my co-leader was and who was in my tour. And it had all 12 tours of all the kids. And I was like, oh my God. So like, when I sort of know who my tour kids are, especially like, the more memorable ones. And I do see them now and again. And I would flick through, and it was so interesting seeing them. And the ones that I know now who are like, I'm 39. These children are like 35. Lots of them are married, they have kids, they have like amazing jobs, amazing careers, doing really cool stuff in the world. And I'm like, this is so weird, because they were like children, but the age difference really wasn't that big. Anyway, then I was like in a flow of going to Israel a lot. That was when my sister was cabin crew and I was flying. It used to cost me 68 quid return to go to Tel Aviv on BA. So I was doing that lots, and going for like a few weeks every summer, a couple of weeks at Easter or Pesach, whatever. And then I moved back there when I was 23. I went for another year, did another like, it was like a work experience placement. And I was working as a photojournalist for a news agency, which was super interesting. Was shooting a lot of stuff in Jerusalem. I was shooting at the time, this is 2011, they had a big issue with refugees coming from Eritrea and Sudan, and they were literally like crossing the border from Egypt into Israel. The Israeli authorities wouldn't send them back to Egypt, because the Egyptians were just shooting them if they'd go back across the border, but they also didn't like want to process them or absorb them or whatever, and they just used to stick them on a bus, send them up to Tel Aviv, drop them off at the central bus station, and said like, see you later. So there was, I think the numbers in the end was somewhere between 10 and 20,000 were like living around the central bus station in Tel Aviv, getting picked up to go to work every morning in like this sort of illegal trade. And I was documenting this whole thing, where they were living, where they were working, this process of them getting picked up early in the morning at sunrise. it's really fascinating. I ended up staying for about a year. The second year was also working on the beach, another grueling, intensive
I was
job.
going to say, was that really hard as well?
That really was. That was like, you also don't get paid, so you only get tips.
Oh wow!
I did that for about 5 months.
Wait, doing the photo
stuff, I didn't get paid because I was on an internship, but I also got a grant from Massad. There was like support to like help you live. But then I was working as a nanny, a male nanny, looking after 2 different kids. One of which, bizarrely, the one who I really loved, and his mum, she was from London, but she'd made Aliyah years ago and had her kid. And still in touch with them now. And as the kid's grown up, completely independent of him knowing who I am, has become a massive fan of my YouTube channel. And his mum was like, this is so weird. I've just walked in on him, like, watching it. And he's like, do you know who that is? Like, he used to look after you when you were like 1. They're really bizarre. Working on the beach, you don't get paid. You're dealing with, to be fair, like, actually the Israelis were the best people because they knew you weren't getting paid. They would tip you really well. French, the worst, and everybody else like somewhere in between. But that was like, I'd work like 12, 14-hour days with no base salary through the summer, especially, like, 35 degrees, humid in Tel Aviv, schlepping down the beach. I only used to work on the beds because you could make the most money. It was hard. I passed out twice, 2 different times, like fully like collapsed on the job. The staff like didn't give a shit. They were just like, whatever, and they just like trample over you. And
what?
They used to say things like, this was so horrible. You'd be like, they'd serve a salad or something. The salad would be disgusting, and like one of your customer would be like, I'm really sorry, but this is disgusting. Have you seen the tomatoes? They look like they've been sat in the sun all day. And I'm like, yeah, they literally were. And you take it back to the manager because you ordered food and you paid for it all yourself with the money you'd taken. So let's say you order like a schnitzel and chips and a salad and it's 80 shekels and you give me 100 shekels and 20 is my tip. At the end of the day, the restaurant would say, right, all your orders come to 2,000 shekels, so I have to give them the 2,000 shekels and everything else is like left over. So if you don't charge someone for something, you're paying for it. So I took it back to the manager. I'm like, this is it's disgusting and they won't pay for it. And it's like the most Israeli thing. The manager just said, he's like, tell them to go fuck themselves. And I'm like, well, I'm obviously not going to say that. Like, I was like, can you just cancel it? So I'd have to pay for it. He's like, no, I told you, go tell them to fuck themselves. And that was like the environment I was working in.
Oh, so what did you do? Presumably you didn't.
I think I just had to pay for that one for them. But I made bank. I was like making amazing money doing that job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how you keep up with what you owe and how you do it and who owes what.
It was called your ex. It was like, your ex, what's your ex? And you could like get it on the screen. You could tap in and be like, okay, I've got like 4,000 shekels in my bum bag at the moment and I owe 2,500 or whatever. Like, you just keep track of it through the day.
Wow.
Yeah. And then anyway, so after that, I then left, came back, became a lawyer, but was still just like going to Israel as regularly as I could. I led 2 Birthright. I became a leader for Birthright, did 2 Birthright trips. And now I try and go twice a year if I can.
So there's a love of the land there.
A love of the land, for sure, yeah.
But that's an amazing experience doing all of these tours. You'd probably I'm sure you know it pretty well. Like, and I've seen you recently, I was watching one of your YouTube videos where you were doing a race to get across
from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
I think something like that, and you were with someone that was on, either you were on one of those scooters and someone had to get the bus, and it was a lot. I'm thinking, how do you know all the roads? How do you know where you're going? But
well, like Tel Aviv, and I've lived in both Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. I've spent a lot of time in both. And when you live somewhere, you get to know it. Like, and they're small. Well, Jerusalem's huge, but Tel Aviv is a small city, so it's very easy to. I know it very intimately. But also, especially actually when I was there, when I was 18 on year course, we really made an effort every single weekend to go to places. And I had this map. I must have it somewhere at home. I think it's at home in Leeds. A map where I marked off everywhere I went, and literally from north to south, the whole country. I've been all over and to the most random places. I also lived in random places. I lived in a town called Arad. Don't know if you know Arad.
I've heard of Arad. Maybe I went there on tour, or maybe one of my tour groups was called Arad.
Could
maybe
have been
something like that.
I don't think you wouldn't have specifically gone there. We lived in an absorption centre. We were volunteering, and it's sort of near the Dead Sea. It's like near Beersheba, near the Dead Sea-ish. development town, so random. When I tell Israelis that I lived in Arad for 5 months, they're like, it'd be like you meeting someone abroad and they were Japanese, and you're like, oh, I'm from England. They'll be like, oh my God, like I lived in England for a year. And you're like, oh, where? Well, for 5 months I lived in Scunthorpe, and for like 3 months I lived in like Derby. And you'd be like, it's a bit like that. Like,
why did you live in these places then?
That's just where you got sent. So there was various places. I mean, I feel like we got a bit screwed because when we did the kibbutz element, we got sent to a kibbutz called Steliau, like nice place, but it's a religious kibbutz. We were not religious. It was in the north near Afula. In January and February, it was freezing, raining, miserable. Meanwhile, other people on year course went down to a kibbutz in the south, half an hour from Eilat. They used to go out. They could go out partying in Eilat. We were stuck there. We had nowhere to go. Gorgeous weather, even in the winter. It was also like, it was a kibbutz founded in the 70s by people from our youth movement, or Young Judea, like the American arm of our youth movement. So there's a lot of like history there, and it was very like, I don't know, peace and love and desert and sun and whatever. And we were like, I spent a lot of my time pruning dead grapevines in the rain. It was not fun.
Oh no. Oh, well, hopefully I feel like your years of travel since then may have paid off, or may have balanced it out.
It was still fun. It was still really fun. You know, I think I like to think in all of my experiences, wherever I am in the world, I think there's always something to learn or interesting to see. Like there was literally nowhere in the world where I'd be like, I'm not going there, or I don't want to go. Like everywhere, there's something to experience and learn everywhere you go.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of Israel?
The desert.
Oh.
I mean, I think in general in the world that I like a desert. You know, people are either like beach or mountain or whatever. Like there's something about desert, especially like mountainous desert.
Yeah.
That arid, dry landscape. I love that anywhere actually, but obviously in Israel I have a particular like deep-rooted love for Israel, and there's something that feels very biblical, spiritual. I'm not really a spiritual person, but when you're like in the wilderness, in these incredible surroundings, there's this sort of feeling of like, my people were here, like walking here thousands of years ago, and you really like feel that, and there's a silence that isn't like a silence anywhere else. And I don't know, for me that's like, I would pick that over like lush green jungle or beaches or whatever. There's something that I find like this peace when I'm in those places. And I have some certain places, like a couple of hikes that are just like my absolute favorites, and I've taken loads of people there, and there's, I don't know, it's really magical to me.
Oh, you'll have to take me on a tour.
You can come.
I'm definitely more of the waterfall. Like I did FZY tour, and we did, what's it called, the waterfalls, En-Gedi. And like I definitely prefer like the lusher environment.
Well, interesting. So En-Gedi's like is actually beautiful, and there's a reason why it's like a popular tourist spot to go to. Good for tour because it's kind of controlled, the area, whatever. But there's some extra little bits of En-Gedi you can go and do, like longer hikes that are amazing. But that is particularly amazing when you're in this like arid landscape, and one of the hikes, my favorite hike, is like this. You're in like dramatic mountainous desert, and then you find these like little springs. Some of them are not even that small. Like there's one called Enakev, which is like, it's smaller than En-Gedi, but it's that sort of thing. But imagine if you've been walking for an hour and a half already, and you don't even see like a blade of grass, and then out of it comes this like lush oasis of like a deep cold pool, and you can jump in from the top of like the little, whatever it's called, I don't know what the geographical words, what the words are for it, but so yeah, amongst that kind of thing exists, and it makes it even more amazing, beautiful and special.
Do you not get panicked though, that what if I don't find an oasis? What if I'm going to die in the desert?
No, because I'm not drinking like that like dirty water where like people have been swimming and whatever. But so you always got to take plenty of water with you. Everything you need goes with you, but but for like that moment of like refreshing swim, jump it, I don't know, it's amazing.
One day, book me in, I want to come with you.
They call it, my friends, because whenever I'm in Israel and like take different groups, like friends and whatever, but they call it Kelvin's Kosher Tours. That's like my business, not a business, but
I love it. Yeah,
my friend Dan came up with that. He's like,
you
right.
should do this. Forget the points guy, which we'll come on to in a minute.
Kelvin's kosher tours.
Yeah,
terrible time to be trying to do that. But
no, we're in it. It's fine. Actually, talking about kosher tours, we've actually got some kosher food.
Okay.
So, because obviously we have to feed our guests kosher food.
I'm actually starving. Legit.
Oh,
I'm really
good.
hungry. I've not eaten today.
Can we bring in the food? Wait, why haven't you eaten today?
I was saving myself for this.
Oh, good. Okay. Hello. The door's slowly opening. Hi, Zev. How are you?
Hi, I'll come round.
This is Zev from Balagan.
Hi, Zev from
This
Balagan.
is
I'm Nicky.
Nicky.
How are you
Nice to meet
doing?
Nicky.
So Zev runs. Have you been to Balagan in Borehamwood?
No, I haven't.
It's a kosher food restaurant, and they do. I mean, you can tell them they do like the best shawarma, falafel, like
Middle
everything.
Eastern, cuisine, shawarma, schnitzel, burgers, kebabs.
This is all my favourite kind of gear. And my sister lives in Arkley, so I feel like she'll
you're around the
know.
corner.
And the kids are all at what's the bloody school called?
Yavna?
Yavna. And she works there, so I feel like they must
What's her
know
mum's
and go
name?
to this place. My sister,
Your sister,
Danny Regal.
Danny. No.
Okay.
My kid my baby just left Yavna. He just finished his A-levels, so.
Okay. Oh well, I'm sure they'll know.
Yeah, both my boys.
Ollie's my nephew, who's like the oldest. Ollie Regal,
How old is he?
17.
I'll say he's a year younger than mine.
This became
my
very
oldest.
Jewish very quickly, didn't it?
I was going to say,
You
it's
just walked in with
Jewish
your.
It's the beard that has that effect.
I don't have it, and I'm still like this all the time.
Oh, it's all right. I don't have a beard, so I can get in on the Jewish conversation.
Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, so we've got some food for you. What have we got
Great.
today,
So,
Zev?
Today we have, as always,
Hummus.
hummus falafel.
Good start.
We have some amber.
Amazing.
If you're into spicy, we have some very spicy stroke,
Love spicy. Do you go spicy?
I like
Okay.
spice.
tahina, and
Nice.
palviot salad.
Wow.
And of course, pickles.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Amber. Oh,
Oh my god, this is so good.
I have to get involved.
You have to come into the restaurant to eat it
Yes.
hot and fresh.
Yeah, I will.
So-
I'll bring the Regal gang in.
Yeah?
Well, and this is the part that I need to say, is that if you go to Balagan, you say, what the falafel, and you get 10% off your meal
I'll
for the
remember
podcast.
that. I'll remember that.
There we go. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Nikki, very nice to meet you.
Thank
Hopefully
you,
we'll
thank
see
you for
soon at Balagan.
this. I
You're
will.
very welcome.
Well, I'm gonna reserve my judgment. Actually, this looks stunning, but let's do the taste test, and then I'll decide whether I'm coming in.
Sounds good.
Thank you for this.
You're more than welcome.
I didn't
Nice
really
to
know
meet
this
you.
happened like this. This is great. This is
Yes. Or you have to just get in and help yourself. Also, I'm really excited. We had Hen Mazik on, and he was telling us. Thank you so much. Zev.
Thank you.
Thank you. He was telling us that amber sauce was actually invented by Jews, which I was really excited about.
either is that did I watch that, or did he? There's something because it's something to do with like it's preserving mangoes.
Yes.
Something I can't remember. The
Yeah,
story,
he
but-
said, oh God, I'm going to be tested now. But it was something about when the Jews were traveling, they had to preserve the mangoes. So they put spices in them or something, and that's how amber sauce was created.
Yeah, and then something about like the trade routes, and so that it ended up going to different places, and then that's how it became what it is.
I
Wow,
love
this
it.
is so. I have no idea. But
Get stuck
that
in.
sounded right.
I'm going to sit back and clear my throat because I've just had so much cook in one go. I'm like tearing up.
I feel like if your throat is killing you, tzchug as a word to say, it's quite hard on the throat.
Yeah, schug. I was talking to someone about this the other day, and they're like, schug. I'm like, no, you got to get the ch, otherwise it's not quite it. I don't know how I'm going to have a conversation. 1 second. So you're a spice fan.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
this is so good.
What have you got? You've got the spice all together.
Well, I've just kind of poured it on, and I'll just do a bit of dipping around. Oh, the tzchug is really good, actually.
Right, I'm going to go for this. We had Elaine Chaya, who was telling us that in Persian cuisine, like they love their spice. But then it's not meant to be a very Ashkenazi thing, spice. But I like to rebel against that because I'm Ashkenazi and I like the spice.
Well, like I am Ashki through and through, and was brought up in a very Jewish environment, especially food-wise. It was very much part of our like day-to-day life. but it is just like a bit naff compared to like this kind of food, isn't it?
I feel like that. It's I just watch all these food recipes and you don't really get anyone going, oh, we're going to make chopped herring with this and that. But yet you get all these like Iraqi dishes and Moroccan dishes that are packed with spice and flavours. And it's like, here's your smoked salmon and your gefilte fish. And I'm like, I really want to like this. But it is nice. It's like a massive part of my heritage. But it's not packed full of all of the goodness that like is this.
I totally agree. I mean, this is just so much more exciting. Like if you're a foodie, especially, and also the world is like so turning on to Israeli food, or like I can see you've got like the Ottolenghi book there. It's like that kind of thing, that there are so many restaurants that are flourishing in London, even in today's political climate, that are still, you go in these restaurants, they're busy until you're Miznon, Kapara.
Yeah. I haven't been to Kapara. Is it good?
My favourite though, very local to me, is Carmel. If you've heard of that, in Queen's Park. It is absolutely sensational.
Oh, no idea. I knew Carmeli's. I literally used to hang out there every Saturday night.
That is deeply Ashki.
Yeah.
That's like even got the Ashki like look, the aesthetic.
It's all like the bagels, but then you've got the biscuits in like those plastic containers. It's all the same biscuits. As a kid, I remember every Friday when I went with my mum to get the challah, I got to choose the biscuits that I would get, like the kosher. I used to get 2, and I'd get like the half dipped ones with the raspberry jam in the middle. But Carmel, you were saying?
Carmel, it's called. Lonsdale Road, Queen's Park. Sensational.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
Okay, gonna add it to my list.
Yeah, you must.
All right.
They do, and it's this. It's not quite. It's like they do big like lamb shanks and big like spicy chicken things, and these amazing like hummus dishes. They do like kind of these baked bread things with different toppings on. Oh, it's just the best.
Wow.
Amazing like hispy cabbage that they cover in this sauce with macadamia nuts on top.
Is hispy cabbage a new thing? I feel like everyone's eating hispy cabbage these days, or it's on everywhere on the menu.
I don't even know what hispy means. Is that a type of cabbage? Is that the way of preparing? I adore
Wish I had
food.
asked now, because I don't know.
I'm a proper foodie, but I'm not very knowledgeable about food.
Me too. I love eating. Like, it's my favourite thing, but like good food. Yeah, I could go, like on my birthdays, it's like, what do you want to do? I just want to go to restaurants and just try different restaurants.
That's my favourite thing about all the travel that I do for work. I can't even stop eating this to speak to you.
Good. I love it.
I spend the last 5 minutes.
So many people are just so polite and they put their plate down. I'm like, oh no, eat. Good. This is good.
Do they usually? Am I being a heathen?
No, I love it. This is absolutely what we're here for, and I would join in, but I'm worried that I'm going to have to ask you a question. I'll join in.
Where was I? I lost myself. Oh yeah, with my travel. One of my favourite things of going to, especially when I'm going to more interesting places, is that I just get to eat such cool, amazing stuff. And my favourite is going to people will often give recommendations to be like, go to really fancy places. I really don't need that. I want to know like proper backstreet, the best of like traditional food. Like I was just in Taipei a couple of weeks ago and we got sent to this. It was actually a halal beef noodle place, and it's called like halal beef noodle. But everyone says it's like the place to go. It was packed in there. It was like super cheap, quick service, like not rude, but like it was like bang, bang, bang. Everything's just being thrown out all the time. I have a very similar place to that in Seoul that I absolutely love. And those kind of places, like you get such an insight into just like the society, the culture, the food.
Yeah.
Rather than being in like, I don't need to go to like, fancy restaurant in a hotel where people try and send you. It's all about those like backstreet places, and I always try to seek those out.
I'm so with you on this. I always say that if we got to eat each other's food and we could learn about each other's culture that way, I feel like it would connect us so much more. I went to Italy, and while everyone wanted to do all the sites, I'm like, I want to do the eating tour. And we went to Rome and did like the eating tour of Italy, where we went to the market and we got to grate garlic on the bread. And this isn't really about you though, so I'm going to stop talking. We'll talk about this afterwards. But I love the whole food thing. But bringing it on to you, which is why we're all here. What's interesting though is that you're so into your food, but I also know that you've got Crohn. So how do you manage that? Because there's a whole story around this. And I was listening to your story. You've been through a lot with your health.
Yeah. I'll stop eating for a second.
That's right. Do you know what? I was like, should we get him chicken soup? Is he going to be able to eat this?
Oh no, I think you asked me. I literally eat everything. There are things. Okay, so Crohn's. For any of your listeners who don't know what Crohn's is, it's an autoimmune disease where your immune system attacks your digestive system, anywhere from mouth to anus, all the way through. Colitis is like the sister disease. Inflammatory bowel disease is like the umbrella term, but colitis only affects your large intestine, and Crohn's is like anywhere. I got diagnosed when I was 20. We actually think I got gastroenteritis in Mexico. Actually, me and my friend Goldie, who lives in Leeds, who's just moved back from Israel, who I'm seeing for dinner tonight, weirdly, we both got sick at the same time in the same way, and mine basically just never got better. And over the course of that year, it got progressively worse and worse and worse, and I ended up in and out of hospital. Finally got diagnosed with Crohn's, and where I had it, it was so bad that they were like, there's no real way out. Steroids aren't working, anti-inflammatories not working, and they decided they had to operate. And so they did an operation. They cut out 8 inches of large intestine, 18 inches of small intestine. That was all so diseased, it wasn't ever going to heal. Joined it back together, sort of went successfully, and then about 5 or 6 days later, I was still in hospital and everything went wrong. My bowels broke open inside me. It was very not a good thing to happen. And I got peritonitis, which is an infection of the lining of your organs, and also these blood clots in this blood supply to the bowels, and the two things have a 60 to 70% mortality rate each, and I had them both at the same time. So I was fucked. It was like really bad. And they did this emergency operation in the middle of the night. Nobody even knew about it. They got my surgeon out of bed. He was on call. He came to the hospital. He was like, this is too major to even operate here. We need to take him to St. James's, like the big hospital in Leeds. I was in a private hospital. It was like, we're just not equipped to deal with like something this serious. But then they were like, we're actually going to lose him. It's got to be now. So they're like running down the corridor with me, like sticking everything they need in me and put me under.
Were you conscious at this time?
But yeah, but barely. But I'm sort of aware of what's happening. But no one else knows. My parents don't even know. I had a surgery I was in surgery for about 8 or 9 hours. They basically open you up again. They take your organs like out and have to wash everything. Like your organs are just covered in shit, basically. And so I go through that whole thing. I wake up in intensive care and I've got an ileostomy, which is where they bring the end of your bowel out of your stomach through a little hole, and then they can put a bag over it, and then you like pooing into a bag, basically. No one had told me that was even a possibility. I didn't know what it was. I just woke up with this thing and I looked down and I remember just like starting to cry, being like, I don't know what this is. They couldn't. And then once I had the conversation, they were like, we don't know how long you'll have this for. It could be permanent. It might not be. We don't know. Which is like a massive shock, really scary. I ended up in hospital for like that stay was like the best part of about a month, and was sort of back on my feet, and suddenly actually got a great new lease of life because there was no toilet involved in anything, and I pooed into a bag. It was great. And I started to travel a bit, started to pick up some of my sister's trips when she was flying around. And I remember the first big one, I went to Hong Kong with her, and there's this really funny photos of us like in front of the Hong Kong skyline, and we're like lifting our arms up and my t-shirt's up, and you just see this like bag of shit like hanging out. But I was just like, oh, like whatever, this is my life now. After about 5 months, the surgeon was like, we can actually reverse this. So I went and had another operation to have it reversed. And then that took a very long time to recover in terms of my bowels, because they start working again. Like, you're on a lot of medication. It's really tough it's kind of logistically with like the toilet and stuff to get yourself out of that period. It went on for like best part of a year, and then started to settle down. But like having Crohn's, and mainly like how the operations left me scarred and damaged. I have issues most days. Certain foods affect me, like generally like fresh fruit and vegetables, and like not great for me. The best food for me actually is like is like processed ashki food. Like give me like chicken soup, knaddles, matzah, like anything like beige, white, no spice, like processed, perfect.
Give me your food back. You've got like
Terrible.
spice and salad. Give it back.
No, but I love it, and I eat whatever I want because I don't want to be limited by it, and I just either like sometimes I'm fine and sometimes I just have to deal with the consequences. But it's such a joy in my life, food, that I just don't allow it to control me. And people are always like, well, and you just like seem to do so much. And I'm like, I never wanted to let this thing beat me. And as soon as I was well enough after that third operation, I was like, I'm going to do something big. I ended up climbing Kilimanjaro to raise money for Crohn's and colitis.
Wow.
Which was like, felt like a really big achievement at the time, because I'd gone from like, I was like this close to dying, like it should have died really. And then to be like on top of a mountain was like really special. And then there's been like these knock-on effects. So then I was on very serious medication for years and years and years. And the main way they deal with Crohn's is by putting you on immunosuppressants, which like suppresses your immune system. But then you end up with all sorts of shit. Like I'd get shingles and impetigo and like all these like weird things. And then one of the biggest risks is to your skin and your liver. And so after about 10 years, they took me off the medication, hoping I'd be stable. But then since then, I've had skin cancer twice, because of the medication I used to be on, and mixed in with like I've had a lot of sun exposure from living in Israel, working on the beach, like doing all these things. So it's been like it's been a journey. And I've had other like, because I'm a bit I people always say like I think I present like quite a healthy person. I look like, and I'm fit, and I run and go to the gym a lot, but on the inside I'm such a mess. And I've had recently like really bad issues with my sinuses. I've had these illnesses that have gone on for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and yeah. Anyway.
What, even now? So your health isn't great. How do you? Because you seem like one of the happiest, nicest, most upbeat people. How do you flip that? Because I feel like a lot of people would take a diagnosis like that, and their whole life would just be ruined. But you seem to just have flipped something where you're like, this is not going to stop me. And not only have you not let it stop you, you've decided to go like the complete other way and traveling the world and climbing mountains. And what is that mindset piece?
So I think you hear this a lot with people who've had a serious illness, or they've faced death, or it's a big cancer diagnosis. Those kinds of things that are very serious definitely puts you in a different. It can go either way, right? You could be like, you could feel defeated and be overwhelmed and whatever. And I never, definitely I had periods, especially when I've been at my sickest, where you feel hopeless and, this is not all roses. And when I'm really sick and my tummy's hurting a lot or causing me a load of problems, or other stuff's going on, the skin cancer thing was scary. Yeah, there are moments, you're not positive, you're never positive 100% of the time. But after being so close to like the worst happening, that did trigger a like, I'm just going to go and fucking get it. I'm gonna care less about what people think, care less about maintaining some kind of like norms or whatever. Like, especially in my 20s, I was traveling to like the most mental places, and there was part of that being like, I'm gonna go fucking do it. Like, I went to North Korea and Mongolia and Tibet, and like, I don't know, I did mad stuff in South America. And so it always kind of like tied up into the same thing, this attitude, this go-getter attitude. And also, like, I've been sort of lucky that, although I've been through very serious health problems, and when I was in my early 20s in and out of hospital, like, yeah, I was very limited in what I could do. But generally, whilst I have problems most days, they don't actually physically stop me doing anything. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm doing stuff even when other people could feel the same and don't. There's an element of that. Like, if I feel rubbish on a morning, I'd be like, right, let's like go out and get it. But sometimes I feel so bad that I can't do that. And I've been lucky in that my illness or illnesses, a lot of the time over the last 20 odd years, have not been so severe that they have literally physically stopped me from doing stuff. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so it's a bit of luck in that regard. And then mostly like just this attitude, which was like a decision that I made, being like, I'm not going to let this thing limit me. And not only that, I'm going to like grab life by the horns. And would I go, and people have asked me before, like, would I go back and change that? 20-year-old Nicky, would you just not have Crohn's, not go through all this stuff? And honestly, like, I think it's a lot of what's made me who I am today. And I'm, in a kind of bizarre way, quite grateful for it. And I think it's given me, both directly and indirectly, a lot more like richness to my life and value to my life and the things that I do.
Has it ever stopped you from going anywhere? Like, if you've got a big trip planned, have you ever been so ill that you've had to cancel it?
Yeah, not really through Crohn's actually, but from recently. Well, I say recently, earlier this year, I had a really bad thing. Don't know what it was, like virus after virus. My body couldn't fight it. It ended up like in my sinuses, and it was like in this loop of infection with my larynx. I had laryngitis, and I was so ill, and it lasted for like the best part of 2 months, and I had to basically cancel everything I was doing. Couldn't even talk. I used my voice so much for work, and for periods of it, I had nothing. It wasn't like it hurt. It didn't hurt. It's like I couldn't speak. My voice was gone. And then you catastrophize. You're like, is this forever now? Like, is this who I am? And like, my career's over because I can't talk now. And so that was kind of scary. So that, I've had recent experience of that. Was really not very nice.
It's a lot. You've gone through a lot with that.
Yeah. And bizarrely, through all of this, actually, whilst I was like with this whole kind of fuck it attitude, the one thing which I was like wouldn't deal with or wouldn't hold on to was being gay. That I didn't come out till I was 30. So,
Okay.
and I don't think I even realised I was, or I don't know, but through all of this, that was like the one thing that I really couldn't shatter, that norm, which was sort of put on me as when I was growing up in a very tight-knit Jewish community where that was always seen as like bad and wrong and whatever.
Being gay was bad.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, because that's a part of your life that I don't really know anything about.
Yeah. So in terms of the environment I grew up in Leeds, great place to grow up. Did have a great childhood, and grateful that was the environment I was brought up in. Big family. But this is like the late 80s, 90s. Gay around you was always wrong, always bad. Not just in my, like, as like a Jewish tight-knit community thing. Sure, school, went to an all-boys school, same, bad. Media, TV, it was either like bad or like a joke. It was only ever like a comedic take on like these camp queer people, whatever. And so I think through all of that, I just completely suppressed my sexuality, tried to have girlfriends, tried to follow the path, knew that was, that's, what it's like with that thing being forced on you. You have to get married, you have to have babies. And my friends were doing that also like quite early. Like my friends were getting married at 22, 23 and having kids. And it was only at about 26, the last girl I ever dated, where I was in my head, I was like, wait a minute, like, do I need to acknowledge this thing which I've completely suppressed and ignored? I don't even know what. It wasn't like I was sat there being like, I'm gay and I have to hide it. It was like complete 100% denial. And at that point I was like, what is this thing? Started to explore it. And at about 27, started sneaking around, didn't tell anyone, but was like, started dating guys. Actually, my first date I ever went on, the first guy I ever kissed. I'd never even had these like weird experiences. Not weird, but people have these experiences with boys and girls and whoever when they're younger. Never had that. And the first guy I went on a date with was my first guy I'd ever kissed. He was an Israeli guy, actually, really lovely guy. And I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is for me. And then I had a freak out about it, and then I like settled back into it. And I had a couple of years of slowly telling certain friends about it until I was then like ready to tell my parents. And once I told them, I was like, when I was 30 then, and I was like, okay, everybody can know. And then the news like spread like wildfire around, like especially in like the Leeds Jewish community. And one of my aunties like tells this story, which I love, where another cousin of mine came into this cafe and they're all sat in there, all the like Jewish women with like some of them with their grandkids and whatever. And this woman comes in and she's like, oh my God, have you heard about Nicky Kelvin? Like as she walks in, and my auntie's like sort of listening, and then she made this very specific jab about something, which is like, I'm not actually going to repeat it because like, who knows who's going to listen to this, but I was like obsessed with her like response to her about this thing. But
we need to know.
No,
I
feel like I don't want to
lead us down that route of a brilliant response.
I think because the response is related to like a person who's not involved in this, and it's like not fair on that person.
Okay, fine.
But like it was It was brilliant. Anyway,
She stuck up for you, as in that's what you're
yeah, and I really didn't give a shit about what people thought at that point. And yeah, and then since then it's been like a really great journey. And actually, in the same way that I sort of talk about the Crohn's thing, it's not the same, because Crohn's is like a disease and affliction. Being gay is absolutely not that. But like, I am so grateful that I'm gay. Like, I fucking love it. The opportunities it's presented itself, the way it's like enriched my life. It's been like the best thing ever.
In what way?
The connections that I make, the friendships, the things I've got to do and see, and the people I've got to meet. I have this amazing like extended group of people who are like some of the most like influential and incredible, beautiful, kind people at the top of each of their industries and whatever. And I just like I look at like I adore my like straight friends, and I'm very lucky that I have friends, especially my Jewish friends who I've known since I was a baby and are still some of my best friends now. But like their lives are very like married, children, whatever. And I want that too, actually. But they also, like, one of my friends was saying to me recently, he met a friend of a friend. He went to do some sport thing. And he was basically like, I haven't made a new friend for about 15 years. And he was so excited about meeting this guy that sort of knows me. And I was like, I meet and make new friends like every other day. And I love that. That's in my like nature and personality to want to like, I'm interested about people. And I don't know, that stuff, I think when you're part of like something like being gay, or it could be, you know, any other number of things, you access circles or people or events or spaces or whatever that you might otherwise not. And I also think, like, you know, it's just sort of lucky for me that there's a privilege there as like a gay man in London in 2025. You are like a sought after commodity and a kind of celebrated type of person.
Within the gay community?
No, I just think like the world likes that thing at the moment. Like, I think if I was a gay man in London 30 years ago, the straight world might not be accepting or find it weird or whatever. But now I think it's like, into the wider world, there's something about like gay men in today's society that people, not everywhere, but in like a very cosmopolitan city like London, we're like, I don't know, put on a bit of a pedestal in some respects.
Have you found it okay being gay and Jewish? Because I know there's been a whole thing that people that supported Israel that were Jewish weren't accepted into Pride. And how have you found that, or not noticed?
It's been a very interesting dynamic seeing this whole thing play out. So one of my favourite things I've ever done in my life or experienced is Buttmitzvah. Do you know Buttmitzvah? So
in what? I know of a Buttmitzvah.
So Buttmitzvah, like B-U-T-T.
Oh, no.
Buttmitzvah.
No.
Okay,
Let me
tell you about Buttmitzvah. So Buttmitzvah is a queer Jewish celebratory night. It is, I'll have to take you.
Okay.
The next one is, it honestly is like, I love a wedding. I love like a simcha. Like, I feel like I thrive. I'm the best version of me in like a simcha environment. But like, I'm not really like straight enough for a wedding, for like a Jewish wedding. Okay. And it's very straight. It's like, obviously, because it's like man, woman, traditional, whatever, but I love it, thrive. I also love a party, but I'm really not like gay enough for like the big gay scary parties. They're like really not for me. But Bat Mitzvah is the combination of the two things. It's like a big gay bar mitzvah or wedding or whatever, where for queers, for gays, for lesbians, for who are trans, whatever. And it's the most joyous, amazing, incredible thing ever. And I've never felt a sense of like home, or like, it's like the whole night was designed to like tickle my loves and desires. So they'll go
wondered where you were going with that.
No. I mean, there is a lot of like, you know, real fun happening there, but they have a full like Jewish wedding band, like a 12-piece band, whatever, doing like an hour-long set, and everyone's like Israeli dancing and then they'll have the family. They're called the Rimmers, and it's Becky Rimmer's Bat Mitzvah basically, and she's this amazing comedian, Candy Gigi. I don't know if you know her.
Yeah.
So Candy plays Becky Rimmer, and the mum Gay Rimmer, and the dad I think he's called Mervyn, and like the grandma, and the mum's like in drag. So there's this like whole family, and it centers around them, and they're doing like fancy dress competitions. They do this song which is like always every year, or every time they do the event, which is absolutely outrageous, but like rooted in like deep Jewish humor, but is like so outrageous and sexual and whatever. They'll have like Vanessa Feltz on stage, like judging the fancy dress competition. Or
how big is this thing?
And I think they get on like, so they do it these days. It's at the Troxy in East London, which actually is like a venue that was set up by Jewish businessmen in the East End, like in the 30s, I think. Okay. I think they get something like 2,000 or 2,500 people. It's big. It's like a lot. It's a big event. But I, a couple of times, have taken big groups of non-Jewish friends with me and bringing them into it. And I'm quite like prominent people who are a bit like, oh, should I be going to this? And then they go and they're like, this is the best thing ever. And there's like, I have videos of like these people being like thrown around in like circles, like Israeli dancing, whatever. How did I even get onto this? Buttmitzvah. Oh, like why am I talking about this? Being gay and Jewish in London. And
I asked you something. I've got so lost in Buttmitzvah that I'm really excited.
How's it being like the gay and Jewish thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that stuff, amazing. I'm also very lucky that a lot of these like gay friends of mine have been incredibly accepting and understanding of like what's happening in Israel, maybe much more balanced in their views. And I think I'm just lucky in that I've got other friends who are Jewish and gay who have lost a lot of their friends, who are like, I think there's this connection between, the Queers for Palestine thing, and that has bled into like, what's Israel, what's Jewish. Those lines, as we know, can become very blurred, and to the point where like lots of friends of mine feel very uncomfortable with what other like non-Jewish friends of theirs are posting or saying to them, and have just been cut off. So I've had like people who've just, I'm not very political. I don't take like I'm not really talking about any political stance, but I will like go to Israel and be with my family and be in my ancestral homeland and whatever. And so that is incredibly unpalatable to some people. So I've had people like give me a lot of like horrible comments, people blocking me, whatever, which I'm like, fine. Yeah. But what I haven't had is like relationships with close friends like completely fall apart over that, which in the gay world is very common. And for whatever reason, it's just not been my experience. And then actually something like, it's sort of early-ish days, but my boyfriend now is Jewish, and I've never dated anybody Jewish before, and this has been like the most amazing, joyous advancement in my like gay life and Jewish life, to be in like a relationship with a Jewish man, which is like, it's so cool.
Oh, that's great. How new is new?
Since January.
Where are we now?
September.
Okay.
8-9 months.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Where did you meet? At Buttmitzvah?
No, we met but that would have been I always thought I would meet someone there, and then never really did. Actually, I did meet someone. This is like a couple of years ago. The only kind of people I've met or had experiences with there off the back of Buttmitzvah have not been Jewish, which is so typical that I'm like,
that's not ideal.
It's a bit like, when you go to a shop and it's the sale and there's like amazing stuff, and then you pick out like the one thing you want is like not in the sale.
Your analogies are really good today. I feel like you've got an example.
That just came from nowhere.
Great.
I've never used that analogy, but isn't that good? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I go to like the biggest queer Jewish event and find the only non-Jew and take them home.
I feel like we're like kindred spirits with the foodie stuff. Like I used to go to GAY all the time. Yeah. I loved it. Like the atmospheres. I also love a simcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will die at Buttmitzvah then.
I'm very excited about this.
After this, I'll show you some like, I don't know when the next one is actually. We'll have a look.
Okay.
I'll give you the info, and I'll show you some of the videos and stuff. It's insane.
I love this. It's so fun, and I didn't expect us to go down this route. But your parents were okay when you told them you were coming out, or like how did they respond?
Totally fine. Had my sisters working on them, like kind of starting to tease it, getting them into a place where like they were sort of ready to accept. Where I thought they were ready to accept it. I kind of got them to massage it so that they were kind of onto me-ish, where they were being like, what is actually going on with him? Because at first they were like, oh no, he's just too busy. Like, that's why he's not dating. But then I remember my little sister calling me as I was boarding a flight to LA being like, Dad is onto you. He's literally just asked me outright, like, is he gay? And I was like, I don't know. Why don't you speak to him? And so I then got on the plane. I was like, I had to sit there for 12 hours or 10 hours, whatever it is, back from LA. Landed, and literally in the arrivals hall at Heathrow called him, being like, I have to tell you something, like, I'm gay. And he immediately was like making a joke about, don't know if you remember Harry Enfield and Friends. You used to watch that show. Yeah. There was like a whole thing in that where like the son is gay, or the son's gay and he's bringing his boyfriend home. My dad was just like making all these jokes about that, which was just like very much how he deals with things, but felt very calming and settling. Yeah. And my mum told her, and I was there, she just wasn't saying anything, and I was sort of like saying a few more bits around the topic, and she was like, and she just went, okay, thanks for letting me know. And that was it. And then I got really nice texts from both of them, and then it's never been a thing since.
Amazing. Really. That's great. It's how it should be.
Yeah.
But and I really want to talk about this, but I also really want to kind of get my words out. Want to talk about the points guy, because like that's everything. But on the Jewish stuff, you grew up in like a very Jewish community, and you spoke a lot of Yiddish, which I found really interesting. You were I don't know, can you be fluent in Yiddish?
Yeah, you can be. You can be. For people that I know, actually, my brother-in-law's auntie was like a Yiddish scholar or something, and was like taught it, maybe. I don't know if I got that right, but she definitely could speak fluent Yiddish.
Wow.
Absolutely not that from me, but like we used an where's this from? This is so...
I can't tell you my sources of where I find out about you. I've just been doing my research.
We did use it, because I feel like that's something, have I ever talked about that? We use an incredible amount of Jewish slang in Leeds. In a way that, like, compared to my friends in London, they just don't, and words that like they've never heard before, and I love it. Like, some words, they just like, there's just no English equivalent that is as impactful. And so when I'm with my friends at home, like, we're still using those words all the time, which is quite funny, especially if like outsiders are listening to us.
So it's beyond like schlapp and schwitzing. You've got more.
Yeah. Well, a very common one, which I know Londoners don't use, is like, actually, now you're in Essex, you might get one of these. This is not Yiddish, but like our go-to words for like good and bad, or like nice or fit or sexy, and like ugly, bad, disgusting. So like the good one was ream, which is quite Essexy and is not Yiddish.
I was going to say didn't Joey Essex invent that?
Yeah, didn't invent it, because we were definitely using it as as in like my parents would be using that word from like forever ago. But the opposite of that is meus, which is Yiddish, and that's a word that like I don't think London is like using or no, and that's very, very common. Like, and you could use that about like a boy or a girl, or about food, or about like anything, we're staying in this Airbnb, it was meus, like, and that anyway. So that's something, words like that which I love. Or we were talking about one the other day, like, do you know the word verschimmelt? Like verschimmelt, you'd say like, if you had like you put your tablecloth out and it's like all wrinkled, you'd be like, this tablecloth's verschimmelt, get the iron out, like something like that. I've heard like
for kunk. I'm going to embarrass myself saying it. It's
verklempt.
Maybe.
Verkacken.
There's a lot of... I'm going to end up swearing if I say it anymore. You know it.
For crumpled.
That's it, for crumpled. Is it for crumpled?
Never heard that.
Have you just made
that
that
just
up?
sounds like crumpled with fur in front of it.
I'm going to have to look this up. Verstunken.
Verstunken, that's pretty common.
Yeah, what's that? That's verstunken.
Just smelly.
No, okay.
Or you could say that about if something was like messy or dirty, verstunken.
Yeah, maybe it's that one.
Hazen.
Have you
like
just
dirty
made up
trousers.
Your word? It's for crumpled.
That's
it's like crumpled up, but I'm going to make it sound Yiddish. Thanks for that. Verstunken. Okay, all right. And mears is bad.
Mears. Yeah.
Mears. Okay. Yeah. All right, I'm going to try and remember these.
But there's a million of them that we use all the time, and they're great. Yeah.
Okay. I need to get my list out. Now, being Jewish, and I'm trying to break away from stereotypes, but we love a good bargain. And I was very excited when I was looking up all your stuff. I had no idea about Avios points and traveling. And so you need to give us like a 101 on all of this, because I started, since I've been like following all your stuff, I'm like, how have I lived my entire life without getting points and without building up stuff? And then I started signing up for like a British Airways card the other day.
Well
and then there's Amexes, but then I got stopped. I started filling out and I'm like, wait, if I sign up for my free card, then that means I can't get a paid card. and I don't know whether I want a paid card because I don't travel that much, and I've just come to a standstill.
You've become quite advanced quite quickly, I think.
Oh,
These
good.
are very good thoughts to be having, because people have been stuck on like a free card for years, not even considered what they should really have. So, brief outline. Well, let's start here. How am I? So I was a lawyer. I was a
Yes.
music lawyer. Great job, loved it. Worked for Universal Music. But when my sister gave up her job as cabin crew, I lost my staff travel benefits that I got from her. Well, not actually when she stopped. Before that, she got married and had kids and ruined my life.
That was selfish.
Because she gave them, her husband and kids got the concessions, and then she left anyway. So whatever. But when that happened, I was like, right, I need to find a way to keep flying. I'd become accustomed. I was paying like next to nothing, especially when I traveled with her. She's like, I'll just sit in business class. So I found the whole points and miles thing, credit cards, became an expert in it, was doing these masterclass talks around the UK. Started an Instagram, started a YouTube, got to know the Points Guy business and the founder of the Points Guy in the US. And he's like, I've always wanted to do something in the UK. Cut a long story short, they hired me to hire a team of people in London and launch the UK franchise of the brand. The Points Guy is the most prolific points and miles and travel advice brand in the world. We have tens of millions of readers, millions of followers across social, newsletter, video. And we're a big business. We're like triple figures, like our staff numbers. So we're like, we're a big company. We all love what we do. But my kind of UK operation, everything got merged into like one big thing. And so I've been trying to cover more of the UK stuff more recently, like on my own channel. I've got decent social following, so I'm like, and people are there wanting to know hacks and bargains and whatever. So if I'm going to give you a headline for like, if you're a UK listener, the things you want to be doing. So get a good travel rewards credit card. They're not cards to get if you need to pay them off in full on time every month. Mm-hmm. Like they're terrible otherwise because the interest rates are really high.
What are the options with the travel, like with the cards?
There are there's quite a lot across. Okay. There's American Express products, the British Airways Premium Plus Amex card is very popular, like the black card, because you earn this companion voucher where you can buy one ticket and get one for free with Aviation, so you just pay the taxes. And then Virgin Atlantic have credit cards, and there's quite a lot of different products, but you sort of should go do your own research and find out what works best for you. But getting a reward card that you're putting all your spending on, so you're earning on every single purchase, be that in Tesco or buying a flight or in B&Q, I don't know, wherever you do your shopping. In addition to that, the online shopping portals are an amazing way to earn way, way, way more. So you don't even need a credit card for this. So this is where, like, you might know of sites like Top Cashback or Quidco, where you can click through to retailers and you earn cashback in the background. Well, the airlines also have sites like that. And the multiples that you earn are huge. So like, especially on like fashion retail. So, but also on things like booking.com, hotels.com, but like somewhere like Harvey Nichols, for example, or Selfridges can sometimes be 12 or 14 Avios per pound. So if you spend 200 quid and you put it on a credit card, you're going to earn the points on the card and go to Selfridges through the BA shopping portal. You're going to earn 14 points per pound on top. So you could end up with a 200-300 quid purchase. You could end up with like a few thousand Avios. And for context, that's enough for a one-way flight in Europe. Wow. Places like Apple sometimes have like 5 Avios or 6 Avios per pound. If you're going to spend $1,000 on a new iPhone, click through to Apple from the portal, you're also going to earn enough points for a free flight. It's very lucrative. Sainsbury's and Tesco, both of their Sainsbury's Nectar, Tesco Club Card, both of those points convert into air miles. You can get Avios with Nectar and Virgin points with Tesco Club Card points. So that's another way. And then like the final, like more obvious way is like if you're ever staying in a hotel or flying, just make sure you like credit the points to some kind of program. Like that only doesn't work for like your EasyJets or Ryanairs where there's no program, but if it's BA or Virgin or Aer Lingus or, you know, a plethora of other airlines, just earn the points when you fly, and same for hotels.
I wish I'd met you about 20 years ago, because I had no idea about any of this. I would have done my shopping somewhere else, but I'm going to start.
Yeah, and it can be very lucrative. Like lots of like, you know, if you see me if it's not for work and I'm going on holiday and I'm flying business class or first class, I absolutely have not paid cash for those tickets. Like I've used points, and they really do work if you learn how to earn the most you can and how to spend them in the best way, which is kind of what we do at the Points Guy, help people do that. You can end up either like saving a lot of money, or what I like even more is being able to do things you just otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. Like I can't drop 12 grand on a return ticket in first class somewhere, but I can earn the points and pay the 400 quid taxes for the same thing. That would and end up spending less than what an economy cash ticket would have been.
Is it easy to understand
I
once
think
you get started? Like,
I think at the base level, yes. Like it becomes there's like infinite levels of complexity, much more complicated tickets, more complicated ways of earning. Always thinking about it. Like, for example, this is like more advanced where I'm thinking about things like this. If I know I need to book a certain flight, I don't have the points. Let's say it costs £1,000 for whatever flight. I don't have any points for that airline. But I also know they've got like an offer on to buy their points where I get an extra 100% bonus by buying the points. And by buying the points and using the points to buy the ticket, it could cost me £400 instead of paying 1,000. So things like that where it gets a bit more advanced. You don't even need any points at all. I'm buying them and using them immediately to book a flight. Works with hotels as well, that. But I think at the most basic level, just like having a credit card and using the shopping portals, and that's it. And then just like collecting points in one place and using them for a flight. It's like not that complicated.
okay, so I can start there.
Yeah.
Do I get the free card, or do I get like the card that I pay? Like,
we should talk offline on like, because
Okay.
everybody's different. It depends on how much you're spending, how you think you're going to use the points.
Don't really get to go away much, so probably
Yeah.
probably not.
But you will also, like, you know, if you collect this massive bank of Avios and you think you're never going to use them, you can convert Avios into Nectar points and just use them at Sainsbury's or wherever you can spend Nectar. It's not, the value's not amazing doing that. You can get more value booking flights, but like you've always got this floor value where you can just use them. You know, you might have like 800 quid's worth of Nectar points and you just use that at Christmas or whatever. I don't know.
I'm really excited about this. You've made me want to travel and see the world a little bit more as well.
Oh, I like that I've inspired you.
Yeah. Where's the best place that you've been to? Okay, I'll give you 3.
Okay, it's really hard. It's really okay. I give you. That's important. Let's take Israel. Let's take Israel out of the picture because
Okay.
Israel is like my everything, my heart, whatever. But that's kind of like a given. Favorite city at the moment, which I'm obsessed with, is Seoul in South Korea. It is so cool, so fun, amazing like shopping, skincare. It's like very famous for skincare in Korea.
Okay.
Last time I went, I got like the salmon sperm injections in my
I'm sorry,
face.
you what?
Have you never heard of this?
You got
Salmon sperm.
injected with salmon sperm?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this.
Polynucleotides
Oh, yeah.
or
Okay.
something. Does that make that sound? Okay, no. Anyway, people go crazy. They have like the most advanced skincare in the world there.
Wow.
Shopping amazing. K-pop is like taking over the world. These bands, Blackpink and BTS and whatever.
So
It's
my
like,
niece, to interrupt you, she's obsessed with Stray Kids. We're like, what is this? Like K-pop.
Yeah.
She loves it to the point that she has convinced my in-laws to take her to Korea. They like my mother-in-law is not loving like far travel, and they're going in a couple of weeks to how do you pronounce Seoul?
Seoul.
I'm gonna say Seoul. Seoul.
Just Seoul.
What?
Like
Seoul.
like you would say Soul. Like Seoul.
Seoul. Sorry,
Seoul.
that's embarrassing. So yes, they're going there. So you said it's like the best place ever.
I love it so much.
Okay.
I've been a few times. It's awesome. I think I'm going back there next month.
Okay.
As well, for work.
You might be there with them.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll tell them
It's
to
all if they
find
want
you.
recos, I can give them some recos. It's just awesome. I was in Taiwan a couple of weeks ago in Taipei. Taipei is, I like Seoul better, but similar kind of city. I love a like developed, exciting, buzzy Asian city. Like awesome. Okay, so Seoul. Love Cape Town, South Africa, amazing. And where else can I say? I honestly, I love like so many places. In South America, actually, one of my favorite places I ever went was Colombia. Awesome place, bit more adventurous, bit more like off the beaten path. And actually, if I'm going to turn we're talking about like mountains and desert and whatever, my goal where I want to go next is Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. Have like a real thing in my head, like I'm become obsessed and I really want to go. And I keep seeing more and more people go, in particular to Kyrgyzstan, which is like quite random, It's a bit Mongolia vibes. I've been there before, but I'm like
Yeah.
desperate to go there.
I can't wait to just follow you more, see more places. You've got so much to you. There's so much depth. You know, when I first came across you, I was like, oh, he just likes to travel. But there's so much about you, and there's so much that you're doing, and it's absolutely inspirational. I'm so pleased we got to talk.
Me too.
And we're going to
I'm
talk off camera because I'm coming to Buttmitzvah and we're going out for dinner and whatever.
I can't wait. Well, and also, like, thank you for having me, and thank you for feeding me, because I came in starving. It's always a treat to speak to nice people and dig into stories of your life.
Absolutely. I love hearing stories, and we're going to pack you all this cake so you won't
I'll
be
be
hungry for the
taking
rest
all
of the
of
day. Thank you so much. And where can people find you?
So best place to find me is on Instagram, probably Nicky Kelvin on Instagram, Nicky J Kelvin on TikTok if you're a TikToker. Yeah, then from there you'll be able to find all the other bits and pieces.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.